Natural resource management. So, natural resources are naturally occurring substance or features of the environment, physical or biological. So, any natural substance that human use can be considered as natural resources, such as oil, coal, natural gas, metals. Others are air, sunlight, soil, water. Animals and plants are natural resources as well. So, since natural resources can be exploited, so it can be actual or potential source of wealth that occur in natural state, such as timber, water, fertile land, wildlife, and minerals. Also, natural resources can be classified as renewable and non-renewable. So, a natural resources qualifies as renewable resources if it is replenished by natural process at the rate comparable to its rate of consumption by humans or other users. A natural resources is considered non-renewable when it exists in a fixed amount or when it cannot be regenerated on a scale comparable to its consumption. So we can say that it is renewable if their supply replenishes naturally or can sustain, while non-renewable resources is a natural resources that is not replenished with the speed at which it is consumed. Disaster impact like hurricane, flash floods, earthquake, wildfires, and environmental degradation like deforestation, soil erosion, water pollution, industrial pollution, depletion of ozone layer, and as well as poor management and use of our natural resources can amplify or increase the disaster risk, and also it can reduce our population. Since natural resources are particularly important for the poorest and most vulnerable communities in the world, so they are most severely affected by deteriorating environmental conditions and factors limiting resource access. So most poorest and high vulnerability communities contributes to environmental degradation because most of poorest communities have improper knowledge and lack of insufficient resources. So the poverty affects people tend to overuse every resources available to them when their survival is at stake. So overconsumption of natural resources results in environmental degradation. So the environmental degradation reduces the capacity of the environment to meet social and ecological needs, such as foods, firewoods, medicines, and protection from natural hazards. It reduces also the effectiveness of essential ecosystem services, such as the mitigation of floods and landslides. So this leads to increased risk from disaster, and in turn to natural hazards. It can further degrade the environment. Vulnerability to water security is particularly high in many developing countries, with high risk of waterborne disease and little available of resources to invest in alternative technological solutions. The climate change further poses high risk of abrupt and irreversible regional scale change in the composition, structure, and function of terrestrial and freshwater ecosystem, including wetlands. So, because of extreme weather events and change in water cycle patterns are making it more difficult to access safe drinking water, especially for most vulnerable people. When disaster hit, it can destroy or contaminate entire water supplies, increasing the risk of disease like cholera and typhoid, which people are particularly vulnerable. Also, rising temperatures can lead to deadly pathogens in freshwater sources, making the water dangerous for people to drink. So, adapting to water effects of climate change will protect people's health and save our lives. So, using water more efficiently and transitioning to solar-powered water systems will reduce greenhouse gases and further protect our futures. The effective management of land or land use, including agriculture, forestry, water systems, life forms, and atmospheric environment, is vital to reduce the disaster risk and community vulnerability to disaster impacts. Ecosystem restoration and the sustainable use of natural resources facilitates people's ability to prevent, cope with, and recover from disasters. So, land and even water has a major influence on human lives. So, better control and management of these resources can indeed reduce the problems and misery that humans may face in the near future. So there are key natural resource management considerations that are relevant throughout disaster preparedness, response and recovery. Watershed restoration, agroecology, reprotection, and rangeland rehabilitation to support climate change adaptation, as they serve immediate needs and bring immediate benefits to local communities, while also contributing to a long-term capacity development that will create a basis for reducing future vulnerabilities. So, integrated water resource management is a important tool that integrates DRR or disaster risk reduction strategies in managing both excess water and water scarcity, as well as encompassing integrated watershed management and integrated river basin management. Integrated forest management helps to balance demand for forest products with ecological requirements of forests, while ensuring other key benefits for livelihoods, notably by stabilizing steep slopes and reducing soil erosion. Protecting coral reefs and coastal mangrove forests, as these are known for their ability to adapt to climate change and recover from storms and floods, and still provide services of protecting the coast and absorbing pollution. Integrating natural resources issues in peace negotiations is an important component of laying the foundation for future reforms, securing livelihoods, and promoting equitable access. Natural resources management is especially conducted to bottom-up approach and requires communities to take the lead in order to be successful and sustainable. Especially in disaster context, natural resources expertise is often required to access natural resources issues. So, types of natural resources. So, there are many ways to classify the types of natural resources. They include the source of origin, the state of their development, and the renewability of the resources. So, in terms of source of origin, natural resources can be classified into biotic or abiotic. First one is the biotic resources. So, these resources can be obtained from living and organic materials. Example of these are sa forest. We have plants and trees and animals. Even a decade in fossil materials like coal, petroleum, natural gas is considered as biotic resources. So the second one is the biotic resources. So these resources can be obtained from non-living and non-organic materials. Example of these resources include land, fresh water, air, and sunlight. Also, minerals like gold, iron, copper, silver, diamonds are considered as abiotic resources. Natural resources can also be categorized based on their stage of development. So first one is the potential resources. So these resources are those which are available in the region but not fully used. But these resources could be used in the future. Example, mineral oils like petroleum. Petroleum may exist in many parts of the country where sedimentary are found, but till it is actually drilled out and put into use, it remains potential resources. So the second one is the actual resources. So actual resources are those resources of which the quality as well as the quantity has been surveyed and utilization has been determined. On the other hand, the development is said to be based on technology as well as their feasibility. Third one is the reserve resources, which we are not extracting them at present in spite of technological availability. So they start to meet the world's future requirements. The last one is the stock resources. So stock resources is the resources for which presently we do not have any technology to extract them. For example, water consists of hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is considered as one source of energy, but we do not know the technology to extract energy from it. So natural resources are also classified based on their renewability. So first one is the renewable resources. So these are resources can replenish itself at the rate it is used. It includes sun, air, water, and wind. So these resources is infinite. It can regrow or be replaced within a person's lifespan. Just because a resource is renewable, it doesn't mean we should use it carelessly. If we aren't careful, we can pollute resources, then these resources may be no longer be fit for use. So the next one is the non-renewable. So they don't regrow or they cannot be replaced or renewed. These resources take a very long time to form. If we use these resources too quickly, they run out because there is not enough time to replace them. So it is a finite resources. Example of this is the mineral and fossil fuels such as oil, natural gas, and coal.